It is accurate that there's not a specific cell phone policy in Alleghany Highlands Public Schools. There doesn't have to be one for governance, so that's why there's not one at this time. That certainly doesn't preclude you all from considering one, and from giving us any kind of directive you'd like to give us in terms of how to explore that. One of the really helpful things we found as we started to look into this question was a relatively new report, also associated with VCU. We've been talking about VCU tonight, and a group called the Metropolitan Educational Research Consortium. And there's a link to that report in your memo, and one of the really nice things about that report is it's highly digestible, and there are pros and cons listed for all sorts of different sorts of cell phone policies that different school divisions have implemented. So it's really easy to download with that download button there, and it's also something that we can provide anyone a copy of. We just found it helpful, and some of the key points as we were reading through it is it gave some examples from different district level cell phone policies, arguments for and against, evidence for and against, use of more and less restriction, legal issues connected to school phone use. It was very, very informative. If you all would like, we can certainly further explore this issue. It probably will take some exploration, we want to be honest about that, because it is something on which there are a variety of opinions and there are a variety of interesting ideas. But our understanding is that you all might be interested in just about anything that helps us preserve student safety and student learning. We hear that from you all the time. And certainly taking a look at how our students sometimes engage with cell phones is reasonable in that regard. So we're happy to entertain any questions. I worked on some of this information. Ms. Sneed-Johnson, Dr. Furman, we were able to find these things out for you.
I just appreciate this is actually a really, don't be offended, but you know, sometimes companion documents aren't all that useful sometimes, and as you pointed out, maybe they're not easily digestible. Right. This is, and it also approaches it more from a conversational point of view. It's not taking one side or the other, and I mean, for the record, I just think as a division, it's 2022, almost 2023, cell phones have been a part of daily life of the average American for quite some time. And I think we can work to develop a policy that recognizes that cell phones are very useful, powerful tools that even can be used legitimately in the classroom, but they are also a tremendous distraction even for adults. So we can't ask our young people to be better at navigating that than what we do. So I think just having a policy that allows for some use, I think, I mean, if I'm to be broad in how it's bouncing around in my head, there is some utility for that, but ultimately helping a bit of the discipline for our students to understand that they are in school to learn, and understanding that those distractions from phones can happen. And I say that knowing that I'm going to have at least 2 people in my household very much angry.
Probably would hurt to find out what the parents are going to say.
Sure.
You know, if you get in there and you start putting restrictions on cell phone usage, we're going to catch some flack about it. But, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a hot topic. But letting not kids either have cell phones or restricting them or whatever. Personally, I think that, you know, if you have a policy, there ought to be like stages. Like if I catch you the first time with a cell phone, I ask you not to bring it, put it up. Second time, you give it to me. The third time, the parent has to come and get it. You know, it's just an idea. I mean, it's just, you got to be able to teach kids. And you're not going to learn very well if they're sitting on there texting to the guy sitting beside them or the girl. Okay?
Can happen.
That's just an opinion.
Understood.
Not a board report, just me.
Understood.
I'd be curious about input from the teachers as to how much of a learning of distraction it is during instructional time. I do understand as a parent that I would not want my child at school with no way for me to reach them or them to reach me, especially if there was an emergency situation. I'm sure there's a happy medium between having it on your person and having it in plan. some kind of video game while we're supposed to be listening to what the teacher's trying to teach. It's probably a common sense policy. But if you could get input from the teachers as to how much trouble they're having with focus and cell phone use during instructional time, that helps.
So we did find at least one other division that did some surveying that seemed like a helpful example. And we definitely think there's a lot of different facets to this kind of issue. I mean, that's absolutely acknowledged. We really appreciate you all reaching out to us for some more information on it. So I think what we'll do is we will endeavor to find some more information, even more than we have here. We definitely commend that research report to you because it does a great job parsing out lots of different kinds of related issues. And we'll try to bring you some follow-up on that in January. That may or may not look like a policy draft, just given that time period. Does that follow for everyone on the board?